Hello friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan and I'm so glad you're here today. I would like to share with you a little something I get questions about a lot and something I'm seeing more and more in the community at large around me, and that is autoimmune disease. I have what's called chronic fatigue syndrome. That is an autoimmune disease that can be triggered by so many things. By chronic hormone imbalance, by chronic stress, just a ton of things that in the long term and big picture of your life cause immense adrenal, physical, and mental and emotional stress that in the big picture just come together to make your body kind of turn on itself. Chronic fatigue syndrome unfortunately seems to be one of those things that you're diagnosed with when, well, every single other test has turned up negative. It's not any number of things, but we can tell something is really, really wrong. And it's autoimmune triggered. So there's that label. Chronic fatigue syndrome. As you might have guessed by the name, there's a lot of fatigue. Chronic fatigue syndrome is going to look different for every person. There are a lot of things that are going to overlap, but the specifics are going to be really unique to your body and your lifestyle and how you are impacted by it. For me personally, it really came to a head about a little over a year ago. I really crashed. There had been ongoing symptoms before then, but I just considered it part of mom life. I'd had my sixth baby about a year beforehand, and I was homeschooling, homesteading, and really active in our church and community and all the things that you guys know are part of our lives. But at the beginning of July, maybe the end of June 2017, it came to an undeniable head and I was in crisis. One thing that was huge but was really easy to dismiss for a very long time was the brain fog. And now if you have something like Hashimoto's or fibromyalgia or any number of other autoimmune things, or even just knowledge of them, you will see that a lot of these things overlap. It just is all down to the individual's body and how those things manifest. But brain fog is like horrible memory, which again, mom life. But it goes beyond that to the point where I would start to say something to my husband and then pause for whatever reason, and then just carry on as if I'd never said anything. And he'd be like, Meg, yeah? It's like, you were saying something? I became very unreliable, and I have always prided myself with being someone that can be relied upon. And I was not reliable. The immense fog that can really, it's hard to describe any other way. Like, I couldn't focus. I was easily distracted, and my memory was horrible, and it was so intense. Like, all that sounds like meh, but the intensity of it is what was profound. And then of course the fatigue. I have had 5 newborns, one of which was a very, very hard newborn. We know now he has autism and sensory processing disorder. And basically from the time he was born until he was about 3, he rarely slept. He had night terrors from a very young age. He screamed all night. I know exhaustion. My husband at that time was working nights and he would sleep all day, so I was doing nights all by myself with him and our older child, and then after him also another infant. I know exhaustion and fatigue, and this does not compare to the intense head to toe physical and mental exhaustion. I was so tired, doesn't even explain it. physical pain because I was just so bone achingly exhausted to every fiber of my being. And what was more and kind of torturous is that I would also deal with days or weeks at a time of insomnia. I never really understood insomnia until I had it myself. I thought, oh, you're awake all night, you don't sleep? Like, okay. No, it's like laying in bed and being so tired and just wanting to go to sleep, and your body won't. And I would lay and cry because I just wanted to sleep. I was so tired and my body wouldn't sleep, which just compounded things. I was so exhausted all day, and then I would go through a period of insomnia where I was just so tired and then had insomnia. It was literal torture to not be able to sleep at night when I was so bone achingly exhausted. And then I started to have anxiety, really bad anxiety, because I was so tired. Like, it was all I could do to sit on the couch and watch my children and keep them alive and feed them basic meals every day. So I was getting behind on everything, on work, on homeschooling, on the garden. I mean, I had a decent crop last year in my garden, but I was so weak and physically unwell that I just would post on my church's MOPS group and say, I have this. Can anyone use it? Please take it because it's going to rot. Because I couldn't do anything with it. So I was getting behind on everything, and I'm already rather type A. So there was the anxiety of being behind and I need to catch up. And then at nights it would spin into a whole new beast where I would sit by my husband and have literal panic attacks because it's like, I'm so tired, but I don't want to lay in bed and not sleep. What if I have insomnia again tonight? And I would have panic attacks because I just wanted to sleep and it hurt. I needed sleep so bad. And some nights my body just wouldn't sleep, and I would be so terrified that I didn't even want to try to go to bed, lest it be another night of the torture that is insomnia. And then combined with all of that was depression. It morphed into depression, seeing this hole I was in, feeling this anxiety. Is it ever going to get better? This deep black hole was like taking me over. I can't mentally remember or function. I can't physically do anything. I can't sleep at night. And the anxiety was so bad, it was overwhelming, and it was this deep, dark hole. There was the physical issues, physical pain. A hallmark of chronic fatigue syndrome is the physical pain. Your body just has inflammation. It just starts attacking itself in various body parts, and it can be different for everyone. For me, it's my joints. I always know when it's starting to get bad because my elbows hurt. My elbows hurt so bad. Like lifting a cup of coffee, my hands would shake because it was swelling. I had swelling, I had pain, I had inflammation. Just holding a coffee cup and lifting it to my lips was difficult and painful. I'm a knitter. I'm a professional knitter. And knitting, just moving two tiny sticks like this over and over, my knuckles and my forefingers especially, because that's what I use the most in knitting, would swell and ache so badly. My shoulders would hurt so much. And my feet, I always knew when it was going to be a rough day, because basically the first thing I'd do when I'd get out of bed, I would like flinch just trying to get out of bed because my feet ached and my ankles ached and my knees hurt because there was inflammation. It was like arthritis and bad. And there was itching. Like I would have mystery itching all over my body. It was like all in here was especially bad. There would be nothing there, but it would be the most insane itch that I couldn't not scratch. and it was terrible. It was like my skin was blowing up with inflammation and hives just right here, and it itched so bad. Standard treatment for chronic fatigue is just treat the symptoms. They don't know anything else. They can give you vitamin B for energy. Now, this is not all. This is just the standard course of here's what we do for people with this label. Vitamin B12 shots regularly, iron supplements, antidepressants, because that anxiety and depression is debilitating. And it's just developed in response to the symptoms. And then steroids. Long-term, moderate to high-dose steroids for the inflammation. And I didn't want to do that. I've been on antidepressants before, and I believe they save lives, but my body does not react well to them. And I couldn't do it. Steroids, again, I've been on them quite a few times for various things. I could not fathom doing that long term. The vitamin supplements, sure, but the bigger picture was I don't want to treat the symptoms. I want to heal my body. So I did a ton of research, medical research, why they choose the different things and the tests and the studies, and then the holistic side of things. And ultimately, that's what I ended up going with. I found a clean diet, like no sugar, no preservatives. Our bread products I make from scratch. And we have a pretty good diet because of our son Aaron, which if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the info box below and an iCard up so you can check it out. But I had to get really intense about it, like no sugar. Even fruits were minimal, and no preservatives, no pastas, and not necessarily gluten-free because I grind the grain myself for our bread, and that was fine. That never triggered me. It was the processed stuff. So it was just meat, eggs, fish, and vegetables. I take several supplements as well, and none of these are things I'm making money off of. This is in no way sponsored, because I've struggled with progesterone deficiency for several years. I take red maca root because that is help with energy as well as help balance female hormones. When I was really in rough shape, I was taking a liquid supplement called Probiotics because it is a food-sourced iron and B vitamin supplement. It is really easily absorbed by the body, but as long as you're taking a reasonable dose of it, you're not going to OD because your body uses it up and then excretes the rest fairly quickly. I was taking high doses of vitamin D3 since that is a fat-soluble vitamin and you can OD, but it has to be like 5 times what I was taking to be in the danger zone. I also take 2 different kinds of probiotics because the root of a lot of inflammation and the immune system is in the gut. So I take 2 different kinds, one that is a specific kind of probiotics, a specific type of strains, and another that is a more general one but is geared towards women's health and hormone balance. This is not sponsored by anybody. I make money off of none of this. This is just my experience and what I'm using. I take a supplement by Young Living called Sulfurzyme. Now this is mainly MSM, which is a supplement for immune health and inflammation that is very, very common among people with all types of autoimmune issues. And it also has Ninja Wolfberry, which is another thing that is known to be helpful with things like inflammation and immune health. As far as topical things, I began using another Young Living product, a blend called Deep Relief, and I would put that on the itching spots and it would help so much. That is meant to be for easing sore muscles and things like that, but I found it was really helpful in just cooling my skin that had the itchy spots. And for the joints and things that had the pain and inflammation, I used a cream from Young Living called Cool Azul. It was super duper helpful, especially in my elbows and my hands and my knees. I did a lot of research on the medical studies and why they treat the way they do. I did a lot of research on the holistic side of things and the naturopathic way of doing things. And ultimately, I came up with what, over the last year, has worked well for me. It's a slow process. It's really slow. Healing the body takes time. I have flares that come and go, but overall, I feel a lot better. I have to listen to my body. I don't get up at 4:30 in the morning anymore like I used to. I am definitely a morning person, but now I have to just sleep till my body wakes up, when it will. I have to listen when I'm exercising. You all know, if you've been around here long, that I am on a weight loss journey. I am 40 pounds down, 70 more to go, but it's really hard when I can't exercise. With chronic fatigue syndrome, instead of typically where you'll get some muscle soreness from a good workout and that is super normal, my body will think it's been injured, it'll think it's been attacked, and I will be instantly into a chronic fatigue flare with the brain fog. I can't even lift my arms, I hurt so much, stuff like that. So I have to take good care of myself. I joke that chronic fatigue is what you develop when you burn the candle super hard at both ends for too long, and the management of it is really intentional self-care. If you have any questions, let me know in the info box below. I would love to chat. I would love to answer any questions. I would love to commiserate. If you or a loved one has chronic fatigue syndrome, I'm sorry. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Bye-bye, friends.